Hello again, everyone. We thank you so much for staying with us tonight at 5:30. I'm John Evans. North Carolina's Governor Josh Stein unveiled a new task force today to focus on early childhood education and childcare. He says availability and affordability have become huge obstacles for parents when it comes to caring for children. WECT's J.C. Caldwell is following the governor's actions on this tonight. Now, J.C., he says this new task force is dedicated to tackling what he is calling a statewide crisis.
Yeah, that's right, John. The governor announced this new initiative at a child care center today in Durham. He talked about parents' struggles, saying there aren't enough open child care slots to meet the needs of the state. He says many expecting families jump on wait lists before their children are even born to guarantee a slot. And even if they get one, chances are they can't afford it. The average cost, according to the governor, is $12,000 per year. For perspective, that's close to 3 years worth of tuition for in-state UNCW students.
It should be a choice. Parents shouldn't be pushed out of the workforce because they cannot afford to work. When we invest in childcare, our entire society benefits. Parents get to keep working and keep building their careers.
Stein says he plans to pay workers more, raise child care subsidy rates in rural areas, and add 1,000 new pre-K slots for children. J.C. Caldwell, WECT News.